Hello there, I'm Moldy, and if you're watching this video within a week or two, there's still a chance to pick up the limited edition May the Bricks Be With You Always t-shirt. All information will be on the product shelf just below this video. But having built the Yoshi bike, I think it's only fair we move on to the next load of bikes, and which LEGO theme loves bikes more than Marvel. Not only do I have this Venom bike that I got for Christmas, it's nice and built. But last year, January, I also picked up the motorcycle chase, which gave us Spider-Man, which I think is a really fun duo. But these are not the only vehicles we've got in LEGO. Just before we get into all of them, I've recently built a giant red Hulk mech, which you can find. It has its own video here on the channel. And if there's any vehicles of notable significance that show up in Captain America Brave New World, please do let me know, as I'd love to take these apart and build some of the newer vehicles. But I've recently also rebuilt Ghost Rider's muscle car, which does remind me of those Dodge and Ford cars from the 70s and 80s. I believe this is meant to represent a Dodge Charger. Since that set's come out, we've got cars for Miles Morales, we've got cars for Venom's recently got a new car as well, with a few new minifigures we'll be taking a look at later. And Spider-Man also has his own car, though I don't have the set. I do have Gwen with her skateboard and the Venomized Green Goblin as well. But this is looking like more of a Speed Champions lineup than a Marvel set. And these aren't the only sets. These are just the Spider-Man vehicles. We get bikes for Captain America, Black Widow, Tony Stark, of course, needs a handful of cars for his mansion. And I think the reason Marvel are able to do this is because of all the different costumes that we're getting, especially across the Spider-Verse universe. If you're unaware, later this year, we are rumored to be getting, and it is just a rumor, a Spider-Verse CMF from Miles Morales trilogy of movies. I believe the third one was originally meant to come out this year, and there has been a slight delay on it. So I'm not sure if they'll push back the CMF, but I think with the brand new Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man show that's come out on Disney Plus, that is wrapping up very soon, we could also get a CMF from that. You see, that show does have a load of other classic costumes, and there are so many references to other comic versions of Spider-Man through both that and the Spider-Verse movies that we could definitely get two CMFs, one now with some costumes from that show to fill in for the third Spider-Verse movie. And then by the time that movie comes out, I'm sure we've got a load of other costumes brought to us in the comics and the games that we could get to fill out that CMF. So personally, I would love two Spider-Man CMFs, and would probably be picking up the both of them. But I'm sure LEGO will probably wait and just give us the one for now. Whilst we're speaking on Spidey and Venom, Venom has a bike, has a car, and I'm pretty sure probably has another like helicopter in a set from a few years ago. But what on earth is this little build from the recent Marvel magazine? This is meant to come with 3 Venom heads, but as I'm using one of my minifigures already, I've taken the heads off my Venomized Green Goblin and Doc Ock, which I think looks even creepier. In researching what this is meant to be, and this is just some sort of giant Venom monster, I found this polybag that has 5 heads and is even bigger. This wasn't in a magazine, this was an official polybag, which is why they had a few more bricks to work with. But what on earth are these? This is nightmare fuel. Like I said, I've taken the heads off my Venomized Doc Ock, which actually came in the same set as this Spider-Man bike, and Green Goblin came in the same set as Spider-Man's car and Gwen on her skateboard. But I do have a second Venom minifigure. Perhaps we should restore these heads. And something really cool about these Venomized heads is the fact that one side is fully Venomized and the other side is only half Venomized. So in the case of Doc Ock, you've got half Venom and half of Doc Ock's head, which just makes them look even creepier. But taking my duplicate of a Venom minifigure and giving them white hands, I wonder if you could guess which character it is I am trying to make here, because I also have a duplicate of Black Widow's hairpiece, and putting that on the character, we're that step closer to getting a custom black suited Spider-Woman, which comes in one of the brand new sets. I think it's actually Venom's muscle car. As you probably know here, I do like collecting my Spider-Man minifigures, so having that extra one, I'll have to 3D print some black and white legs for this minifigure, and I also think some dual molded black and white arms could take this minifigure to the next level. But that's definitely a fine addition to my collection. Back to the series, I have been watching along my friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. I think it's really, really fun and fills that gap where recently we've got X-Men 97 continuing on from the 90s X-Men show, and similar shows like Clone Wars and the animated Batman series, which came out a bit before Clone Wars. But in a time where we don't have any towels for Star Wars, there are still quite a few Marvel animations that they're keeping up on, and a few other companies are noticing there is a gap for animation. So we're getting some Star Trek animations. I think even The Boys has an animated series. And it's really nice to be getting these animations because it's so much easier to give different costumes in animation as opposed to trying to make them all for a set movie or a 6-episode series. Just before we move on and talk about minifigures, I would like to point out that Lego have you stud all 4 studs down on your minifigure legs into these vehicles. Please, for the sake of cracking, do not do this. I've taken a 2x2 tile with 2 studs on them and positioned the studs on the bum cheeks of our Lego minifigures, which is the proper way to do it without worrying about your minifigures cracking, because there is an incomplete stud at the back. So through cold temperatures and through any other extraneous variables, you shouldn't have to worry about minifigure legs cracking, because who wants to do that? But not only have I done it with the Spider-Man bike, Venom, I've actually gone a step further, replaced the 2x4 plate with 2 1x4 tiles with the studs on either ends, the modified plates or tiles, if you will. And you might be wondering how I've secured Venom on. Well, we get handlebars for the bike for a reason, and I've just clipped Venom's left hand on the left handlebar. As for Ghost Rider, you do have just enough space, which surprised me that you could get a 2x2 modified plate tile in the bottom and still get Ghost Rider looking out of his window, though it is a bit more trickier to fit it in flush with the back of the car. And this is possible for all your Lego builds, so if you don't want to worry about cracking, and if you want more information, I'll leave a video on the end screen for you about when we discovered this in a minifigure display. But definitely for all your vehicles, go have a quick check. These studs are fine. For Gwen over here on the skateboard, it's just those 2 stud connectors at the bottom of the legs. They're meant for display, definitely not for play. I am hopeful that we'll get news on the Spider-Man Spider-Verse CMF very, very soon, and you can bet on it that I'll be reviewing at least a handful of them here on the channel. Speaking of which, stay tuned for the CMF review that might be coming out at the same time as this video. And don't worry, when these reviews are over, we'll be getting back to Star Wars mocks very, very soon. Again, let me know if any vehicles did play any significance in Captain America Brave New World, and may the bricks be with you always.